Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As they would say from down under Brisbane, Australia, welcome to David Nair on Air. I'm so happy to have the same couple that we spoke with last week in this particular episode 2. But before I get to them, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you that are as audiences here from different parts of the world. Thank you again for coming online. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask the questions in the chat channel. But if you do miss that, you're welcome to send it to support@davidnair.net. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Without much ado, because we've got so much to cover, I'd like to welcome on board again Kim and Ranganathan. Kim's from the US, Texas, and Ranganathan is from Chennai. One's an entrepreneur running his own family business and an actor and actually a singer, a director, a list of things that goes with Ranganathan. And Kim, as a dentist, works out of Texas, Houston, and a Vietnam War refugee. Hi, guys. How are you both?
Absolutely great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great. Hey, let's just very quickly kick off. I just want to sort of get a feel. We last week we spoke about your background and a little bit about how you got into the business. We want to hone in specifically on the business practices today. Would you like to sort of kickstart on what were some of the things you thought of as you got into this entrepreneurial business?
Kim, so let's ladies first. So
ladies first.
Well, to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to be my own boss and work my own hours and just have that freedom of whatever I wanted to do. But in that, I had to create a mindset that, I need to be the captain of that ship and I need to learn. I need to learn, and I hooked up with, I guess, a lot of people. I set up a lot of people around me to help and learn from their experiences. But it's funny, I can learn in theory all I can, but to tell you, looking back, I made a lot of mistakes, and that's how I learned a lot more.
Right. I'm going to come to the mistake shortly because we all do that, and it's something I'm not going to miss out on. But when you said you hung on with a lot of people around you, who were some of the types of people? If you can mention the name, that would be great. Otherwise, what type of industry, what sort of experiences did you tap from them?
Well, the first thing is people in the banking business. I had some friends that were bankers, so I need the financial backing, number one. And number two is the people in the industry, like my friends that are dentists or my friends that are business owners, different types of business owners. I made up a lot of friends and, reached out, friends of friends of friends, and just started my network and just learned from there. And then the third thing to look at to business is, like I mentioned last week, is location. What kind of clientele I wanted, where I set up, where I live too. I want to be part of the community. I want to serve the community. And the community is a very full, young families. So I work very well with kids. So when I work with kids, I get their parents to come in.
Right. Did you live in the community, or were you away from it, distant? And
I live in the community within a 4-mile radius, so it's like at 2 kilometers.
Yeah, that was an advantage also because your commute time was limited.
Yes.
That's fabulous. And yourself, Ranga, what about you when you kick-started this whole process with your family?
So like I said, few individuals cannot take the credit for growing up the family business. It's always been a team business. One thing that our father Giri, his name is where the business has come from. So what he used to do was pull us all together, more than me, being a part of those meetings. My brothers and sisters, they've been a part of the whole discussion process of defining what the future would look like. We still have recordings in the family we've always documented, like over the years, whenever we have had very serious meetings or very not serious in the sense, like they have become serious in a way, but important meetings we have always recorded and we have documented it. So, like whenever we look back, where were we and where have we reached, those type of things. For that, we've always been an advocate of recording. So my elder brother also, apparently, he's today is his birthday. He passed away at a very young age. He was a very forerunner, like he was a very fast runner, but he passed away fast too. So his name is Ayyappan, and but he set up the pace for the organization, I would say, and also our father. So the very important, the key thing was like to again shake us up, like what when the dog is in the mud, like it shakes itself up, and so that it's now ready to get into the next act. So the same way, we always, once we find ourselves in something that is sort of are we in the same loop, or are we doing the same thing again and again, or what is that we have to improve, or what is it we have to change. So we have compulsorily put ourselves, like I said last time, we have compulsively put ourselves into a schedule of like continuously meeting and discussing, okay, what happened and what can be improved. So those sort of things is what we but we've always been what you have taught us, and what the environment has taught us, and what everybody talks about is, we have been always goal oriented. Like, what is the goal? Like, what is the purpose? What are we doing this for? Or whatever action, small or big, we continuously pointed it towards the goal, or the goals, rather, the milestones and the goals, and pointed it towards that and said, okay, so we are going there. Like, we are not discussing other things. We are going there. So what is that we need to do to reach there? That's been our main, if you have to say takeaway, so that's our main thing that we've always focused on.
Fabulous. Now, to have that Northern Star and to focus on it and work towards it, you would have had, as one of the things you mentioned is documentation, you would have had some processes like that in place. Can you just name 5 of those well-established practices that's rotating in synchronity now?
Well, if you ask me, there are 500 of them.
Putting you in a position, Ranga.
So one is definitely the documentation of, we're lucky that we got into Google Drive pretty early, even before Google announced it as a priced thing, but we were the early movers, and today the entire organization, we run it from Google Drive perspective. And so there's a lot of collaboration that happens, and coming from a 5-point list, one is we every week, whatever we have discussed, we write it down, and we schedule it and say, okay, these are the things that we need to do, and what is the timeline, who's in charge of it, and what is the status right. So that's a compulsive thing across the organization. So even if somebody doesn't do it, then we keep asking, ourselves, why we were not able to do that. So we have a direction. So to maintain it on the North Star, we do that. And that's the one of the, or all the 5, I would say, because again, if we don't have that documentation, that becomes this thing. Again, if you have to say, we have audio recorded all the discussions that we have had, but whenever we find it difficult, or whatever we said, or whatever we did not say, if we want to go and see it, we have the documentation spoken on that day, so we refer to it. Other than that, I can't recall too many things, David. There are too many things.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's good. What about yourself, Kim?
Well, Ranga, before I go on, I wanted to share a little familiar trait that we have. Happy birthday to your late brother. I had a brother too that passed away very, very young age. Very talented, and I think they were probably sent to us to teach us a lesson and to start a foundation for our family. So I just want to share that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
and
much.
to both of you, my deepest sympathy and condolences. I don't recall how far back, but I know you carry the weight of it. But at least you have had the strength to weight yourself through it and come out and still recall them. That's really powerful.
And to
Thank
add on,
you.
to add on with Ranka, I totally agree that we have to have meetings. So we do have meetings every morning, and we discuss, what happened, in the past or yesterday. We're gonna discuss what happens today, and what steps we need to do. And I hold my staff accountable. So when we allocate out tasks, and we come back and we hold them accountable. But I want to share one mistake that I did was in the beginning. It was more of a micromanaging. And that's really, really a hard lesson for me to learn. So to me now, I have, as an entrepreneur, as an owner, I have to have that vision. I have to have that big picture. Then take myself out of it and look at it from bird's eye view. And then hold people accountable. When you hold people accountable, they feel more empowered. They feel like this is their business as well. I don't have the luxury of a big family like you, Mr. Ranka. It's just me. So I have to rely on others that are not family, but now they have become family, because they have proven to me their loyalty. They have proven that they have taken care of the business like their own. So I think that for me is the people management. Really give them the power, empower them, but share your vision from the bird's eye view. Then hold them accountable. And I think that has been successful the later years of my business. The early years, it was just a mess, because I felt like I was a tyrant up there, micromanaging little things, and that's really not necessary.
Let me stop you there for a moment. Why did you, at that stage, think of this micromanaging as opposed to, letting it loose? Is it because you had a trust factor, or is it because you didn't feel comfortable letting them go, or is it because the resource was not up to standard? What were some of the reasons that went through your mind to micromanage?
Most definitely was the trust factor. I am my personality is that I always felt that if I want to do it right, I got to do it myself. That was my mentality. But in order to run a business, I ran myself ragged. I was wearing too many hats, and I ran myself ragged. And that's not the way to run long term. So I start shifting my goals. Do I want a finite or a goal that has an end, or infinite where it just goes on everlasting? Then I need to change my ways.
Right. What was the time gap that it took for you to start letting go?
I think I've been in this business for 17 years. I think after 5 years, because after 5 years of wearing so many hats, I ran myself ragged, where I almost fell ill.
Right. And that's when you said, enough is enough, let me go, and
I will give the power and allegate.
Fabulous. And then did you find the feedback come back proper when you did that?
Definitely. My assistants and my staff, they love me more, because they said I'm more gentle. I don't yell at them anymore. I'm more very reasonable and approachable. And so it was very positive, to where, I take the stress out of me and just let it out.
Excellent. Fabulous. Good. When you talked about, in Ranga's case, he's got a fallback situation in that the family is there, though they might agree or disagree, at least there is some support. Where do you reach out for support outside of your employees, some peer support and above? Where did you reach out for that?
Raha, you want to start?
No, but I think he asked you.
No, that question is to
that's
you.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's for me. Well, that's
Ranga
where,
said, oh my God, I'm clear now.
well, that's
All
where
right,
my networking and my interpersonal skills and connections with another human being comes in. I reach out for help with my patients, my clients. I will talk to them. I'm having this issue. Do you know if anyone or you could help me out? I mean, people, when you need something and you voice it out to anyone, really help will come. So it's more
Yeah.
patients and families of staff in my network of family and friends, and we reach out further.
As best practices, did you reach out also to meetings, network building type groups that were of the same fraternity?
Most definitely. So I had meetings every morning with BNI. I don't know if you're familiar with that network
Yes.
company. And then
Yes.
I have to be members of the American Dental Association and all the members. So my days, it starts with running the practice, and at night I go to meetings, or I go to the meetings before my office opens, and then I'll work the day and then go to more meetings. So that's
Right.
where continuous learning, what we talked about last week, continuous
Yes.
learning, that's where it comes. And I have to learn about my skills. I have to learn about how to run the business. I have to learn about almost everything.
Right. Right. What about yourself, Ranga? Reaching out to outside of the domain?
Oh yeah, sure. In fact, we've had so many gurus, mentors, and we've listened to so many of them through tapes and CDs, and those are we cannot even count the number of teachings that we've had from those legends, starting with Jim or Mitch or so many other people, and or so many people. These people are legends in our case. And also we have, of course, we've been in touch with Atria for quite a long period now, and we're blessed to have him in our life, because he's been teaching us Sunday after Sunday. Every Sunday we get to learn the life skills and the sharings of so many people, business people who have made they have also had what they call the licks in the life. They have started from ground up, and they have made it to the wherever they are, to the top. So there are so many teachers that are there whom we have relied on, and we have taken inspiration from them. And wherever we get a nice thought or a nice feeling and say, okay, this is nice, why don't we implement it in our organization? Why don't we think about that as a process in our organization? So there are several such things that we've taken from several people, and the world, it's a huge place to learn.
Right. Coming down to mistakes, would you like to share some of the mistakes that you have gone through, and how did you look at it when you encountered it? Then how did you work your way out of it?
Well, before I go to mistakes, I want to add on to Mr. Ranghap about there's just so many people that we rely on, and it just proves that we have to have that connection as human beings, so that we can go on and evolve. So it's just, it takes a village.
Exactly.
And for mistakes, say, I'll give you an example. My friends would say, don't accept this kind of, we have insurance systems. We have Medicaid, Medicare, different insurance, and they would tell me, oh, don't deal with that. That's a big headache. They won't pay you that well, and blah, 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 blah. But, when I was starting out, I need clients. So I need, to open myself up to a lot of insurance companies. So I thought, okay, well, I think that's probably their experience. Mine's going to be different. So I sign up, and it's true. I don't get paid, or they pay me for pennies for the amount that I would work on. I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I listen to them? But to me, for me to learn, really, it's for me to feel the pain.
Yes.
For me to feel that pain and feel that emotion, for me to really learn. Because when you hear it from someone else, it's just like, oh, it's just them.
It won't happen to me.
Yes.
Well,
But when it happens to you, that's when the sting is there, and then you say, "Oh my God!" Good. Yourself,
Yeah.
Ranga.
yeah. So, yeah, you were saying something. You want to say something, Kim?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. So, like I have to sort of worship Kim, or like fall at her feet, because she realized it in 5 years. Like the realization has not still come. Like I have taken some choleric traits from David. I should say. Because, like there are times, of course, like in your heart, like this is the right way, but people don't like it. Like if you say my way or no way, you take the highway.
It doesn't work.
That
Yeah.
used to be me.
Yeah, it used to be you. It is still me.
You know what? The thing that made me realize in 5 years was that my health was really suffering. And I'm not a very big build person as a woman. I lost a lot of weight. I was frail. I was, it's just the health. And that time I woke up and say, look, I want to live.
Right.
Mm.
True. Yeah. Actually,
Was that sorry, Ranga? Sorry, but was that realization come through because of the health, or did somebody just prompt you to look at that?
No, it was really my health. It was
It did.
really my
Go
health
down that path.
that I
Okay.
was running myself ragged. I would go to work at 6 in the morning and get home like work 12, 14 hours. And then on the weekends too. And it was just too much.
Right. Sorry, Ranga, you're going to say something.
Yeah. No. So this my way, no way highway is, like it still happens, and that is the worst part of me, I should say. And I myself hate during those times myself, because it's not the Ranganathan that I want to see myself. So luckily we have people like Mathia and so many people who it's still there. Like I will not say I am now Buddha. No way. I am not even close. But the realization comes, when we start doing that. Then when the realization comes, they said, "Bite your tongue, man. Bite your tongue." It's like what
Yeah.
Jim used to say, or Nancy used to say, "Bite your tongue." Like there are, like Nancy always says, like most times there are times that I know what to say, but most times I don't know what to say.
It's so true. And that's the time when you start to reflect and say, "Oh my God, what's happened here?"
I shouldn't have said that, damn it.
Exactly.
Why did I even open my mouth then? If we had left it just like that, it would have culminated anyways. It had to, whichever way. I spoke and I became a villain unnecessarily. That has happened in personal life, that has happened in family, business life, that has happened with the teams. But luckily, and I've learned one more thing which is very, very profound in my brother, Kashi, and
Yes.
also myself and my wife Sushma. So we practice this a lot, and I consciously do that a lot, and which I am a little proud of myself. But my sister used to say, like, why do that and also do this? Like, don't do that. So the thing that I wanted to say was like conflict resolution. So
Right.
whether you are 95% of the issue or 5% of the issue, you be the first person to go and ask for an apology or a sorry.
Yes.
Right? If you said something that you should not have said, don't mince words and say, directly point the issue and say, look, this is what I said, or this is what happened, and I am the cause for it. I may be 2% of it, I may be just 1% of it, but take the opportunity, grab it, and then go there. And it's not to like be what is it? I don't know how to put it, but I am the guy who's saying it. No, not in that sense. Like to relieve ourselves or to liberate ourselves from the mistake that we have created or we have voiced out. So we go there and say, hey, look, I did this. I'm sorry. I will definitely strike. It's not that I am God. From tomorrow onwards, like there is a famous. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little bit of time on this, but
No, please.
there is a famous actor and chief minister, Mr. M.G. Ramachandran in Tamil cinema. Okay, I'm not sure how many people have seen his movies, but M.G. Ramachandran used to be a very, very famous. And he the famous chief minister of Tamil Nadu also. So in his movies, the last scene, the villain would become as a inime na therindita. I am today, from now onwards, I am a good person. And all his movies, the villain will become the good person and say, now onwards, I will not do anything. So that will be the end for the villain. So it's never like that in life. Like I have committed a mistake, I've said something. But it's never like I will not commit it again. I will strive to make sure that I will not commit it again. But that's my endeavor. That will be my endeavor. But I am human here. I can make mistakes. I can say it. It will be my constant endeavor to reduce it. But yeah, so we are trying our level best to reduce that and be good to others. So this is one huge mistake that I see, and I'm still improving, David.
It's very nice that you brought that up, Rangha, because it's more of like the personal growth, your own personal improvement to me. So I'm not I'm not saying that I awaken, I'm not Buddha at all, but I try to either understand the other person's perspective, where they came from, for them to come up with this idea, whatever. And then I really try not to take it personally at all. That's really one hard lesson that I had to learn, and one hard big pill that I have to swallow, is that before I would just get hurt, offended by almost everything. And now it's just, I have to learn that no, don't take it personally. It's not about me. It's never about me. It's because it's about that person and what they came in with, their perspective, and I have to understand that from them.
It's interesting you both touched on that. Now for that to be the case, and for you to be able to rebound back, obviously you would have had to put a lot inside of you, such that you were strong enough and not take that personally, or at the same time be bold enough and strong enough to go and apologize. Now, both those scenarios is in a situation that says, unless I build me, it's of no value. So how much of that do you actually attribute to your personal self-reflection, self-improvement constantly on a daily basis?
It's daily. It's daily that I have to go inward and look at myself, look at my actions, look at my words, and mostly the thoughts. Sometimes the actions you can control, the words you can control, but the thoughts just keep running through your head. Yeah. So every day I have to go back and look inside, and really self-improvement. Just and just learn that not everything is about me.
There's another person out there.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, Kim, what do you do to correct it? What do you do to build you?
Well, that's just like Mr. Rangha said. I have to swallow my pride and apologize. Mm-hmm. Ask for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing is that when I ask for forgiveness, I get forgiveness from people, but I still hold that inside myself. I don't forgive myself. that took a
That-
lot of work. That took
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
the
of work
point I'm coming to.
to learn how to
Exactly.
forgive myself,
Huh.
get through, to the next phase.
What do you need to do for that? What have you done, is what I should say.
Well, I do a lot of practices spiritually. A lot of
Right.
practices where I repent, and I try to I repent, not try, but I repent and really just erase karma, or ask for forgiveness for the karma that I've caused.
Mhm.
And that's in turn I find forgiveness for myself. I
Right.
feel that's very important, because for a while I was not able to go on, because I felt like I've done something wrong and I cannot forgive myself.
Right. What about yourself, Ranga? How would you fix that internal, I wouldn't say conflict, but the internal build? How would you build that, to give you strength? The next time something like that happens, the intensity is not as great. You would have had to do something to buffer that. What would you do?
What we have heard in our tapes, David. So it doesn't happen, after happening, you cannot go and learn what to correct, or you have to be ready all the time, or rather we have to equip ourselves all the time continuously, and we keep hearing what has to be corrected. Or if you are continuously in an educational program, then it sets your platform to handle those whatever issues are, or whatever objections, or whatever conflicts are there, everything. It sets the stage, beyond this is what we get into an argument or a tiff or whatever, that time, we go totally blank and say, this is so obvious, why these people cannot even see it. That type of situation happens.
Yes.
Then we spurt it out, like what you said. But to correct it, there is only one methodology, a lot of introspection. And,
Yes.
introspection, and just close your eyes, like what Matre has given us an exercise, and it's a beautiful exercise. Like at the end of the day, you can close your eyes and run the entire day from morning till night. Okay, so you got up at 5 o'clock, or you got up at 6 o'clock, and then you can run your entire day. Probably, it's like fast forwarding the tape, you can see the video happening inside your mind. So you will run the entire video, it will move. Now, once when you are moving the video, certain spots will be blank spots. You can't even understand what happened at that time. Like totally blank. But certain places you will know where you have been good, or where you've been sort of hard and bad, and may not have done those things. Those realizations will come, it's like a flash. It's like a fast forward thing. It's a fast tape, time lapse thing, video. So you'll get the entire thing and say, just the awareness. You don't even have to say, okay, you don't have to say, why did you do that? Why did you do this? Oh, you did that. Nothing of that sort. Just create the awareness, and that awareness day by day will improve. So not that I do it every day, but whenever feel like it should be done on a daily basis, like what Matthew has said. But if done, it gives tremendous amount of clarity, and like what Kim said, it washes out the internal system, and it gives us better understanding of the whole thing, and it improves our whole process.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
totally agree. I love the analogy that the film that you gave. That's wonderful. You in the film business.
But I should say about that to you, just taking it a little off track, but you are very good with lighting. I can see a constant light from your right hand side. You lit yourself beautifully.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Last time also I saw that. I wanted to say it, but since you opened up the film thing, Like you're very good with your lighting, sir.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great. Coming back into sacrifices as an entrepreneur, what would be some that you could just very quickly rattle off, and how did you cope with having to put up those sacrifices?
For me, personal Ranka.
Yeah.
I will put that Ranga this time.
Sure. We can always have this 80-20 rule, or the 95-5 rule. What we can say is, I have not thought about it. I'm just speaking as you asked the question. So basically, there are things that we can you've said it already. Major in the majors and not major in the minors. What is your DMP, the definite major purpose of your life? If we can focus there and major in the majors and not major in the minors, that is the sacrifice that you can give. You can sacrifice the minors. You don't have to even think about it, and keep the minor things the minor. And you have to really sacrifice them. If we meddle around, or if we just go overboard on the minor things, but only I can tell what is minor to me or major to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not. It definitely differs from person to person. I cannot specify what is major to you. So everybody has got a definite major purpose. So they have to think about what theirs is. For me, okay, these are the things that are minor. If I know what is major, then I can focus on that and not focus on the minors. It's like the fish tank analogy, David. What are the important things? They become fish-sized rocks, and then the pebbles, and then the sand, and then the water. But if we fill the life with water more, and then try to add up the sand or the pebbles or the rocks, there is no room. When we talk about time management, these are analogies that are given. But whatever is important to us, if we can put that as those are the fish-sized rocks. First we put the rocks there, then the pebbles there, then the sand there. Still we have room for water. So we have to sacrifice the waters of our life.
Yeah. Good.
Very well put. Very well put. That I'm very familiar with that analogy. But as for me, I came from refugee. I came to the United States with just slippers and a T-shirt, had nothing. And, I depended on my parents for the financial. They worked hard. They saved their money. So my main goal was to serve my patients, really to improve oral health. And I always had this quote of my professor in mind. Take care of your patients, and the patients will take care of you.
Take care of you.
And so my first sacrifice was really financial. I had to get all my savings out and borrow some more money, just to have that capital and start the business. The one was the money. Two was time. I had friends that had graduated from school and they have great jobs from corporations, and they were going traveling, going out, eat. I didn't do that because I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time. But in the end, like Ranka said, I knew that it's not an instant gratification. It takes time. So the sacrifices to me didn't seem like sacrifices. It seemed like it was an investment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Agree with you.
And that investment, the payback came through as delayed.
Exactly. And the patients took care of me. And now I have extra capital to venture off to do other businesses, side businesses.
Yes.
That's right.
So what I've learned is that, when you have an entity or a business, you can use that as capital to venture off to do other stuff.
Mm.
So then is the financial is not a bigger sacrifice when I started from ground zero up.
What's your resource bank to generate ideas so you can ideate from it creativity for your business?
What do you think, Radha? I might need a little time.
Like we said earlier, I'm not sure if I can put it differently, but like we've said earlier itself, the world is a beautiful learning place. So if we can look for what we can, if we are ready, uh, uh, like what the famous saying is, when the student is ready, the teacher always appears.
Right.
But only when we are ready, we can see the teacher. Otherwise, we cannot see the teacher. So the world is a very beautiful place where you can learn a lot of things from. So everywhere, if you look for what is that I can learn from this place, or what is that I can learn from this person, or what is that I can take away from this meeting, and if I can, sort of jot it down, or take it inside. Certain things you don't even have to jot it down, like what our beloved Madhya always says, and you also say, certain things you don't have to take notes at all. Like it just goes inside, it goes and sits there, and it's etched in your hard disk forever. It will never go out of you. So, but there are moments. These we can call epiphany moments. Like from that point onwards, the whole thing changes in your life. So there are certain moments that we always have, all of us have. So I would attribute it to the constant learning from the world. There are from every source we can learn something or the other. We can definitely simply put.
Ranga, do you have a structured group of people that you hang out with to pitch for ideas, work with it?
Well, I don't know. Like what Kim said about BNI or something like that. But when we interact with so many people, of course, like we have a huge network of people. So one way or the other, we stay connected. So whenever something like what every day now, this is a very nice thing that by God's grace started, and it's caught momentum like anything. The discussion about two languages like Sanskrit and Tamil, like they're the ancient of the languages. So I see it as a very useful tool to connect with people, because I have not even spoken to those people in ages. There are people from various parts of the world keep calling me and say, hey, look, this idea is nice. Why don't we try this? Or why don't we try that? Or from this, I got this idea and I want to give you this idea. So there are so many things that this is just one part of it. So when you say structured thing, like I see this one as a structured thing. Otherwise, just staying connected helps.
I totally agree with Rangha that this universe, this world is a beautiful place where you can learn anything your heart's desire. And I want to give a little analogy. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So in Harry Potter, they always says that Hogwarts always, help is always available to those who need it at Hogwarts. And I feel that that's the world. Help is always there to come and help you when you need it. And it's just, I go around now with a perspective that anyone that comes into my life can be Buddha. They come in to help me, but I need to be wise enough to realize that.
Yes.
To receive it also. So this world is a beautiful school, really school of us, all of us, to learn from each other and just to grow with each other.
Touching on another subject called fear. Did you have any of that? And what were your greatest fears when you ventured into the business? And how did you handle it?
Absolutely. as a kid, I didn't have any fears. When you hear stories about me going up to the armed guards and talking to them and, questioning them, I had no fears. And I had no fears really crossing the China seas. I thought it was an adventure. But as I grew older, when we accumulating wealth, capital, with our workings, daily workings, the fear was that I would lose everything. I would come back to where I came from. That was the biggest fear.
Right.
And to me now, when I look at that fear kept me from growing a lot more than I could. Because I'm like, well, I have this much, I'm comfortable, then, I don't want to lose it. Then let's not stir the pot.
Right.
So that was the fear that kept me in this small place for a while. And to overcome that, really, you can't really overcome it. To me personally, I just have to look at it straight in the eye. Say, what is it? What is this image? What is it? And just every day, just look at it. Because the more you fight something, the bigger it gets. That's what I've come to learn. That the more you put attention or the more you fight, the more you're against something, the bigger the problem gets. So really now I just look at it and see, okay, what is that fear? Is that real or is that imaginary in my head? And 99.9% of the time is all imaginary in my head.
Right. So the mastery of trying to get that imagination or that disempowering imagination from your head is a master that you have to work on yourself. And it's taken you some time. Every day. It's constant.
Every day. Yes. And with the personality, that the next fear that I have is that everything I put out, my image, everything that I do has to be perfect. And I have that fear that if it's not perfect, I will be judged.
Right.
Sometimes inaction happens when you have that fear of, everything needs to be perfect. And now I'm just like, I just throw things out. Oh, if I made a fool of myself, just laugh at myself. I don't take myself seriously. I used to go through life taking myself way too seriously. And I lose the joy and the fun out of it. Now I'm having so much fun.
And making a lot more money.
Yeah, exactly. And working less. I do dentistry 2 days a week, and I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, that's good. What about yourself, Ranga? Fear factor?
Like Kim, you hit it on the name. Fantastic. That is really bang on. When you said, I have to be perfect in everything that I do. Otherwise, the world will reject me. You keep perfecting something or the other, till such time, when it comes to a production of music or something like that, we keep fine-tuning it so much that become very claustrophobic. Is it not right? Is it right in that area? Is it right in this area? We keep judging it so many times. Come on, release it. It's okay. There can be better versions. You can sing later also. The same way when we are trying to do something and you're trying to perfect it all the time, and there is nothing called perfection. Even in softwares, people don't have the perfect software. You have to create and release a version, and then one more version, and then one more version, and it's a never-ending process. So, we still don't have the perfect software in the world for anything that we want to do. We have better softwares or we have better versions, but the best is yet to come. So it is always there in anything that we do. And so coming to the previous point, we are lucky to learn that very early from David, and I heard it first time from David, and I have heard it several times from a lot many other people, and even Matre keeps saying that fear is false evidence appearing real. FEAR, false evidence appearing real. something that is imaginary. It's not true. You got to go and face it. Once when you face it, the fear disappears. So, and Matthew has got a very beautiful way of putting it across. KNOW fear, NO faith. KNOW fear, NO faith. KNOW faith, NO fear. No fear, no faith, no faith, no fear.
Wonderful.
So we have whatever we do, or whatever we have, and ultimately it's the Almighty. And if we have the Almighty, faith in the Almighty, then automatically the fear disappears. Like we have to catch the hand, the finger of the Lord, or like even have the just hold the Lord's finger and say, look, it's like the parent and the child, like in a traffic, when they're crossing the road. The father says, like the mother says, just hold my finger and we will cross. So that's the type of faith that we need to have. Once when we have that faith and say, nothing will happen to me, my father is there who will take care of me. So everything in a daily approach, if we can have that approach as an attitude, as a thought process,
Oh my gosh, I love this finger hold on, because I have a different picture in my mind. I always imagine myself when I'm in trouble, I reach up to Buddha's toes. How he sits in I just hold on to his toes. And I keep that connection, and that's the faith. I'm connected. So when you did that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this picture holding on to his toes.
Correct. Fabulous. Good. One last question before we wind down. My God, an hour's just gone. Future upcoming entrepreneurs, students, people who are moving from an employee situation to become an entrepreneur, what are some key crystal ideas of wisdom could you pass on to them?
Leap in faith.
Leap of faith. Yeah. Leap of faith. I would love to maybe summarize what both of us have said. You have your big goal, your big, big goal up here, and build connections and build trust with the people that you allocate tasks to, and always have that open communication, and don't take it personally. Sacrifices that may not seem like sacrifices, they will be investments in the end. And really no instant gratification. Things takes time. Right. So I think I just summarized what both of us have said. If you have something else to add, Mr. Rangha, I would love to learn from you.
It's basically the like what N21 has taught us. You need to have a goal, fix the goal. You have your dream as big as possible, and then you bring it down to goals and have dates to it. So everything starts from the goal. If there is no goal, there is nothing. There's a goal, and then you need to have a roadmap or a plan. Who is going to come and help you, work along with you to reach these goals. So you have to identify your team. So that's preparing up of a list and having the right team in place. And then you have to keep telling about your goals and plans, and keep discussing it, and keep showing the whole thing again and again and again and again and again. And till such time it dwells on them. Okay, everybody needs to buy into the whole thing. Only when everybody is sold out on the whole thing, like even today, in our organization, we keep saying this. The last person in the organization, security guy, he needs to tell, not that we have achieved it, But I'm saying, like if we can educate that person and say, what is your goal next year? Or what is your goal for the 5 years? If he can say that, he will open the door in a different way. He will allow
Yes.
customers in a different way. The whole way that he sees, not just his equation, like what Kim said already. I will take care of my clients and they will take care of me. So, I'm just reminded of particular, if you help enough people, they will get what they want. You will get what you want. So we put it, and then we have to continuously keep improving ourselves. First thing is we have to use our own products and services. If we don't use it, how are we going to tell other people? So if I am a user of my product, then I can easily tell. So everything I have to try, test it, and say, okay, this is like we used to have. There is a hotel owner, and he goes to the next door to have some chai tea,
Exactly. The question is, how going to trust your own chai?
So you got to believe in your own services and products, and only then you can talk about it very nicely, and you can be bold and beautifully say aloud, and people catch your confidence and not the product. What you say and what you exhibit, people catch it. So and then continuously keep improving ourselves. There is no other way that we can. There is nothing called we have arrived. It is always arriving.
Yeah,
it's a continuous process. Yeah,
it's always a journey.
Yes, it is.
Enjoy the journey, not the destination, right?
Exactly. So true. Ranga, when before I just close off on this, the mention you had just now of the even the watchman opening the gate. I'm just coming off from an experience with a textile industry entrepreneur, and first thing is he wanted to get an idea as to where his organization is going. So I did some strategic work with him, and one of the key things I asked of him is what's your vision, mission, and core value? And he just rattled it off, and I said, how many of the organization people know about it? He said, I think everybody knows about it because it's the website. And I said, really? So I did a walk around with him. And only one person knew it, and that was him and his wife. I mean, two people, him and his wife. Okay? So what we did was we spent 3 days just locked up in a room doing a brainstorm on what I call the VMS, the Vision, Mission, Core Values. And then we made such a big bonanza out of it by just not saying here it is, but going to each factory and getting the workers to understand it, and the supervisor, the floor managers to understand it. And they had such a big prayer, like an open ceremony of prayer to enunciate the vision, mission, core value. They had placards put up on their workstations where they were working in the benches. They had that put up on the doors. Within 18 months, that organization turned around from a 4 crore company to a 140 crore company.
Wow.
18 months.
Wonderful.
Because every person took ownership of it.
Yes.
You see, in the previous venture, it was their vision, it was their mission, husband and wife, the entrepreneur, as opposed to it was mine now, is what the workers were saying. And that's what, I capsuled by saying in an entrepreneurial business, the key 10-word, 2-letter phrase, if it is to be, it is up to me. Unless we consolidate that, it is not going to work.
Wow. Wonderfully put.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, it's been a great pleasure. I really enjoyed working with you. I mean, I'd love to downstream probably come back and recap on this, but truly appreciate your time and truly appreciate both your efforts in contributing towards the community. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting us, David. Thank you so much. Let me take a little time. Happy New Year.
She's always in for something. Where's the reindeer, lady?
So thank you. It has been a pleasure, and it's a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Ranga.
Good.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person and discussing our story, your story.
Definitely. Please.
I'll take the number from David and we'll stay connected.
Yes.
Right. Okay,
And
then. All right, guys. Take care. Ciao for now. God bless you, huh? And have a prosperous